cameras are rolling.
Rolling.
Sound speeding.
The time has come for our celebration of cinema's classic, Real Monsters!
Hello, everyone. I bid you welcome to episode 7 of Real Monsters Podcast. I'm your host, AJ Danna, and I'm grateful you're tuning in. Thanks for joining me. On the last episode, I spoke with Andy Schultz and Heather Lehigh about Monstrosity, a classic monster tribute show in Studio City, California. Shortly after the staging of that production in August, the haunt season officially kicked off in Southern California. As an actor and creature performer, this is undoubtedly my busiest season. However, I did find time to sit down for a conversation with my friends at the Nerd Twins podcast. I'm grateful to Tess and Chels for inviting me to appear as the guest speaker in their feature-length Universal Monsters special. This month's episode of Real Monsters Podcast will focus on that special, including a sample from our conversation. Tess and Chels are great interviewers who asked about a range of topics within the Universal Monsters brand. You'll hear all about why the monsters returned to the forefront of popular culture in the 1990s, how the monsters played a hand in forming entertainment unions, the importance of female representation in horror, and much more. I also enjoyed playing a game of this or that, pitting various monsters against each other in specific challenges, and justifying the winners. Without further ado, enjoy this sample featuring the Nerd Twins.
I'll tell a story that I've told, I think, on the podcast before for people maybe won't listen. I don't even remember when I told the story, and I've told you before, maybe like twice, but I had a friend of mine, his name was Robert Aragon, and he was an artist. He's an artist, and he did a lot of like monster art. So he was friends with all these people we're talking about, the children of like Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff and things like that, and even like I think like Dwight Fry's family and all other things. And so he would do paint. He was friends with like Vincent Price and stuff. But
wow.
I remember I was really young and I was like maybe like 18 or something at the time. And I met him at a Comic-Con and I started talking to him. I said, I love like Universal Monsters so much and I'm really into it. And I bought I never framed it. I should. He had this beautiful painting of Dracula, of Bela Lugosi coming down the staircase. He signed it for me. I should frame it. It's awesome. But anyway, I started becoming friends with him. He was a really nice guy. And at one point he said, I'm still really good friends with, and I'm going to forget her last name. Her name is, I think it was Carla
Lemley.
Carla Lemley. Yeah. Who lived to be like 99.
Oh, is that, yeah, Carla Lemley's niece, right?
Yes, the niece of Carl Lemley.
She's in Phantom, too.
Right. She's one of the dancers, I think, in that one, right?
How cool.
And so, in Dracula, she says the first line about coming down Borgo Pass in the carriage. And so he goes, I know her, and I can just give her a call. And I was like, you're going to call, like, someone who's, like, related to, like, movie history? Like, oh, my God.
Like, big movie history.
Yeah, and so he goes, I'll just call her really quick. And he's like, hey, Carl, I got this girl. She, like, loves, Dracula. Can you, like, say the line Dracula for her? I was like losing my mind. And so yeah, she puts it into this nice like grandma like lady. Oh hi, hello, I hear you like Dracula. Yeah. Oh yeah, she goes, would you like to hear the line? Oh yeah, yes ma'am. She's telling me the line. I'm like, this is freaking cool. And I'll always remember that for the rest of my life. It was so nice of him just to be like, yeah, well, call her up real quick. And I was just like, she was probably at the time, like, I don't know, maybe like 90 or 89 years old or whatever. But it was so cool because I was just so obsessed with Dracula, so into like Universal Monsters, and to have her on the phone, like, it was just awesome.
Yeah.
We'll never forget it for the rest of my life.
To hear the whole conversation, visit the Nerd Twins podcast wherever you tune in. And with that, keep it real, monster fans. I'm AJ Danna, and I'll catch you next time on the next episode of Real Monsters Podcast. Real Monsters Podcast theme song by Alexander Taylor. Real Monsters logo and key art by Will Davenport. Real Monsters Podcast is an unofficial fan tribute to the classic monster stories of yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and is not sponsored by any of the entertainment entities discussed. Any and all opinions expressed within Real Monsters Podcast are those of my own or those of my guests. Stay tuned and subscribe to Real Monsters Podcast for even more monstrous discussions.